since I'm sure people are going to ask, Mortal Kombat Onslaught, a new mobile game just got announced, and I'm going to talk about literally all we know because there is very little here to know. Basically, it's a team building game. I assume it's going to be some kind of gacha thing, you know, Fire Emblem Heroes, Fate Grand Order, that kind of thing. Maybe we'll get different versions of the characters, like this timeline Scorpion, maybe even movie Scorpion to go along with the next movie coming out, Legends Scorpion, all kinds of shit. It could be cool, we don't know. But it's worth noting that these designs are primarily coming from MK11, but there are certain ways they are deviating. For example, Scorpion here is not using the MK11 mask, even though it's the MK11 design, which kind of brings to mind some other projects, like most notably the MK miniature collection that Angry Joe was working on and just seems to have gone nowhere, where they would mix and match design elements, or we see characters appearing in endings in MK11 and the gear is different, suggesting either that the people making the endings just didn't care what the defaults were, or perhaps that the defaults changed during development. But that's not the mask Scorpion wears in MK11, that's a different one. It is in MK11, but they chose a different one. Scorpion's eyes are also orange instead of the usual white. It could just be to emphasize the fire, who knows. Then we have Sub-Zero with his MK11 design. Well, maybe that design will be canonical now. I mean, this could be the direct sequel to MK11 for all we know, and it would be nice if that outfit was actually canon in something other than Snowblind. I don't think that's the default mask. What am I doing? I can just turn around and look at it. No, that's not the default mask, but it is one that is in MK11. I was kind of trying to go off memory, but I could just turn around and look at the actual MK11 Ultimate Collector's Edition thing I have of the mask. What am I doing? Then behind them, we have Shao Khan in the MK11 design, unfortunately, but he does have a classic helmet, so he at least somewhat resembles Shao Khan. I can't tell if that little cape thing he has is there or not, you know, because it would be behind him, so it's hard to tell. But I think it actually looks more like Shao Khan without it. Kitana's just her story mode version. I wish they'd done something different there, but unfortunately not. Then we have Shinnok, and it's definitely the MK11 version. You can tell from his face. Like, his face was, I guess, more gaunt in MKX, whereas in 11 it's a bit... I don't want to say more pudgy, but that's the only way I can think to describe it. There's a particular... You look at it and you can very easily recall the shot of his head when Raiden puts it down on the bench. I think he's even doing the same expression. That same look of discomfort is crazy. Then we have Raiden up there. It's hard to tell from the lower body, but looking at the upper body, it's clear that is the MK11 design, but with the MKX hat. Now, what I find interesting here, actually, is that the fact that he's not wearing a long coat now, and the fact that you can't see Shao Kahn's little cape thing, could suggest to me that they are simplifying some of the designs for the mobile version, because this is a mobile game, so it makes sense to remove, say, cloth physics from the equation so that the game can run better, or to simplify things for the level of violence, depending on how that's going to be approached. That seems to be what they're doing here, because Raiden's only got a little flap at the front, like the actual long coat part, which was, to me, kind of a cornerstone of the MK11 design, is just absent here, and it would definitely be visible. Then we have Quan Chi in what is... It could just be because of how far back he is, and we can't say for sure yet, but it's still the same fucking design. Guys... You know, you didn't have to use the MK9 one. You could have just, like, picked one from MKX or 4. And then we have Jade in one of the MK11 designs, but not the story mode version, and thank fuck for that. See, it's kind of wild how, like, everybody who tackles the MK11 version of Jade, except for the people who made the story mode, look at it and go, that's fucking dumb. We're not doing that. We're going to have her in green, because her name is Jade. Hell, this version seems to be much more vibrant than the MK11 version of this exact outfit. Maybe that's just so she'll stand out in this artwork, or maybe that's how she'll actually look in the game. It's hard to say what exactly this thing is going to be for now. I mean, we'll probably get more about it at the Game Awards or something. I can imagine them putting out a trailer, maybe alongside... I don't know if they'll be given the time actually to do this and a proper new NetherRealm game trailer. But I do expect we'll see this get an official proper unveiling at that time. It's kind of a shame we didn't get that for the anniversary, but you know, that ship has sailed. So the Game Awards is probably the next best bet. But the description does mention it as being a cinematic story thing. I can't imagine they're going to have heaps and heaps of cutscenes in the game. I mean, it's a mobile game. You'd either have to have tons and tons of videos stored on the player's phone or stream it externally. And I've seen how that works. I play Fire Emblem Heroes. Here's a cutscene as this part of the story, so you have to press on it and then it links to a browser page which then redirects to the YouTube app. And then because you've gone through 2 other apps, when you go back to the Fire Emblem Heroes app, it fucking has to restart. Now, maybe the team working on this are going to do it better. I don't know. One thing I can say though is that, you know, Fire Emblem Heroes gets new content constantly. There's like a new batch of 4 characters every like 2 to 4 weeks. an MK Mobile, you're lucky to get that many characters in a year. So, yeah, I don't know what kind of resources are going to be allocated to this. I imagine the fact they're starting this new thing and apparently making it a story experience that suggests to me that they're going to do something bigger with it. What I think could be cool, although I don't think it's particularly likely given the fact that he's not on the cover, is this could be with the whole focus on like the conflicts in the realms and building an army and such. If this was like a sequel to Shang Tsung's ending in Aftermath, you know, so we'd have MK12 following Liu Kang's ending, while this game follows Shang Tsung's ending, just so that both get a continuation. That could be really cool. Probably not, because if it was, I'm sure Shang Tsung would be on the cover front and centre. This art is cool, I'll give them that. And it's actually a decently high resolution piece of art just for the promotion of this, unlike, you know, the 30th anniversary art that recently came out, which only has like Twitter size in fucking JPEG format. Thanks, guys. It's hard to really say anything else beyond these small details I've noticed because we don't know anything yet. We're going to have to wait for the big reveal again. I think it's going to be at the Game Awards, potentially. But then there's a question of would they want to reveal the mobile game and the main game together? Maybe the mobile game and the main game will actually tie together somehow. Maybe they're going to do like a Ubisoft style, all these Assassin's Creed games are going to be part of one experience. I think they said this is an RPG, so I imagine they'll probably just have very simple character movesets and abilities, kind of like what gacha games tend to do, so that they can have more and more characters having to put loads of work into fleshed out animations and ability sets. They can just say, well, this character can just have the same fireball move as this other character, or what have you. I mean, we don't even know if this is going to be sprites or 3D models. Probably models. I feel like that's kind of what's expected in the West. You know, like, Japan's more of a whatever the fuck it takes to convey the story kind of deal, whereas in the West, it's everything has to be big and cinematic. So maybe this will even have full voice acting, which could be a blessing or a curse based on the file size and how the narrative is formatted. But I really am fascinated with this whole prospect. I'm wondering how it's going to fit with the MK canon, if at all. I feel like I'm saying this for like the third time. We'll just have to wait and see. Please don't ask me about this game. I mean, I'm going to give it a shot. Absolutely. I mean, it's not going to play like a bad NetherRealm fighting game, so there's hope for it to have decent gameplay. And of course, the story components. And if there is like a proper, real story to it, I might end up doing a critique of some sort. But for now, for the fourth time, just wait and see. Leave me alone.